Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I am here with a very exciting video. I love filming this project just because it was created by me. Well, I mean, it's not the only reason why I love it, but it is a project that I really do cherish because it is one that I created a couple of years back. And that is, of course, as you can see in the title, Project Level Up. So if you're new to this project, this is a project that I created, like I said, a couple of years back. And the goal with the project is to basically get some use out of your palettes. And I wanted to create a project where it is a mix of kind of like, you know, Pan Those Eyeshadows, but also like a no plan left behind, and something where I can use the whole palette rather than just like honing in on one shade. So what I ended up doing was creating this project where you have a goal for level 1 to hit one pan in a palette and use every single shade once. Then you level up to level 2 where you use every shade twice and hit 2 pans. And you keep going until you get to level 5, which is what I'm actually currently on right now, where you have to hit 5 pans and use every shade 5 times, which means that this has been quite a feat to complete. But that is the goal for level 5. Then you have an option to either continue going past level 5 to like level 6, 7, and so on, as long as you want to go on as far as you get in the year. Or you can reset the project down to level 1, which is what I am doing at the moment and I have done in the past. So if I complete level 5 in this video, it means that I will be able to go back down to level 1, which was where I refresh the project and roll in the palette again for 1 pan and 1 use per shadow. So yeah, that is going to be what I'm updating today. I'm going to jump into the progress that I have on the palette that I've been working on. But before I do that, if you're new here, please consider subscribing. I would love to have you in the family. Let's jump into the video. So I haven't said yet, but the palette that I've been working on is the Love Notes palette from Beauty Bay. And I'm going to roll the footage of what this palette has been looking like because I have been reaching for this palette for 3 months now. This is the 3rd month it's in the project. So I'm going to show you what it's been looking like over the past couple of months. So as you can see, when I first rolled in this palette, I did already have a couple pans and it was a okay used palette. Nothing like too much though. But it was a palette that I really liked in my collection. I was really excited to roll it in because I wanted to get some more use out of it. In the first month I had it in this project, I was able to hit 3 pans, which meant that I was already there for 3 out of the 5 pans, which was great. And I also had a couple of shades with the usage goals complete, mainly the ones that I hit pan on, and I was getting some use overall. This is what it looked like after 2 months of use, which is also the last update. And I was able to hit 1 more pan in the shade Cotton. So I was standing at 4 pans at the last update. And I also had completed a few usage goals. I will, of course, talk you through the usage when I go through the palette in a second. But yeah, that is what it looked like last month. And this is what the palette looks like today. So you might be able to see some visible changes in the palette. I can definitely see one that's quite obvious, but again, I'm going to talk about that in a second. But yeah, I'm really happy where this palette stands today, and I will let you know if I was able to hit that final pan, as well as if I was able to complete all of the uses. So this is the palette again, but I will have the pictures up here as well with the comparisons, but I'm just giving you one last little overview, but then let's go into the usage. So first up in this palette, we have the shade Corset, which is the most exciting, at least for me, update with this palette, because that is our final pan. So this is one that I was able to pan on in this past month. It took me 8 additional uses in the past month for a total of 18, which is really exciting. So it did take a few uses to pan on, but I was able to roll it out. Well, not roll out, but I was able to hit a final pan, which is really great. And I'm also happy to have pan in another matte in this palette because it's majority of the shimmers that have the pans. Then next to that we have the shade Cotton, which is one that I was able to pan on in the 2nd month of this palette, like I said before. And this one took me 20 uses to pan on, and I did actually use it 2 additional times in the past month, just when I had this palette out anyway. So I ended up having 22 total uses on that shade. The shade Chandelier, I had already hit my usage goal when I pan on this one. So this was actually another pan that I had. So this one I used 12 times with pan on, and that was in the 1st month of this palette. Next to that though, we have the shade Angel and Cheeks, which are 2 that I have used exactly the same way. In the 1st month this was in the project, I used both of those once. The 2nd month as well once. So I had 3 additional uses on both of those to hit my usage goal, and I'm happy to say that I've done that with both of these. I actually ended up using these 2 as a blush, kind of mixed, and they worked really nicely that way. So I was able to get a couple uses that way because I did kind of multitask them a tiny bit because I wanted to complete the uses on this palette. But both of those are now complete. Moving on to the second row, we have the shade Mahogany, which already had its usage goal complete and I have not used it anymore, so that one is done. Same one with the shade Candlestick next to it. That one is one that I had pan on as well earlier in the project, and it took me 7 uses to pan on, but I have not used it since. Next to that, we have the shade Soap, which is another one that I had 3 uses left to go. I used this one twice in the first month, nothing in the second month, and this past month, I'm happy to say that I have reached for it 3 additional times. I'm actually wearing it for the last time today on like the inner kind of crease. So this one I completed today, and that's kind of why I did a purple look to complete some of the last usage in this palette. But yeah, this one is now done. Next to that, we have the shade Bellini, which I already used 5 times as well. So that one was complete. And then next up we have the shade Flush, which is another one that I had a couple uses left on. I used it twice the first month it was in the project, an additional time in the month leading up to the last update. So I had 2 more uses to go, and I'm happy to again say that I was able to reach for it 2 additional times for a total of 5. So that one is also done. Moving on to the third row, we have the shade Pillow, which is another one that I already had finished my usage goal on. So that one I did not touch in the past month. However, Lavender next to it, I was able to reach for 2 additional times for a total of 5. So this one is also done now. And this is another one that I'm wearing today. It's what I'm wearing in majority of my crease, like on the outer corner and in my crease today. So yeah, that one is also in my look today. Then we have the shade Princess, which I had actually only reached for once in the prior months. I didn't reach for it at all in the first month. Once in the second month, so I had 4 more uses to go, but again, I'm happy to say that I have reached for it for the 4 times for a total of 5, which means that this one is done. Really, really happy with that. Next to that, we have another matte, and that is the shade Handkerchief, which is a really, really bright kind of warm toned pink. And this one I only had 1 use on as well. I used it once in the first month it was in the project. So I had 4 more uses to go. And again, I'm happy to say that I was able to reach for those 4 uses this past month. Again, this is another one that I wore as a blush. I think 3 out of the 4 uses I used as a blush. And I'm really, really happy. It worked really nicely as a blush. So I was happy to kind of discover that, I guess. But that one is now complete. The shade Cupid I had used once in the first month this palette was in the project. So I had 4 more uses to go. And I'm happy to actually say that I used this one 5 additional times. I used it on my nails, which is why it's 5 uses. But I was able to overall complete the usage goal on that one, which means that the third row is also done and completed. Moving on to the last row, we have the shade Lilac, which is another shade. Actually, I'm mistaken, by the way. Lavender I am wearing, that's what I'm wearing in my crease. Soap is what I'm wearing as my blending out shade. And Lilac is another one that I'm wearing today, and that's what I have on my outer corner, like a majority of my crease. So this one I'm also wearing today. And I was able to use this one twice in the past month, which means I'm also standing at a total of 5. So this one is complete with those 2 additional uses. The shade Spark I am also wearing today. I'm wearing that on my lids as like the base shimmer. And this one I had 3 additional uses to go, and I'm happy to say that I have reached for this one 3 times in the past month for a total of 5 again. So that one is completed. We have the shade Glove next, which if you remember from my last update, which you probably don't, is the last shade that I had uses left to go with. I was standing at 4 total uses on it at the last update, and I'm happy to say that I have reached for it 1 additional time for a total of 5 uses, which means that I have hit my usage goal on this palette too. Just to sum up as well, Confetti I was able to hit pan on in the first month, and it took me 9 uses. And then Ruby I also completed in the first month. I reached for it 5 times in that initial month. So I'm happy to say that I have been able to level up from my level 5 palette. This one is now completed. I'm really, really happy with how well loved this palette looks. Of course, I have a lot of pans showing, and even the shadows without pans have some good dips in them. All the pans that I was able to hit in this palette, again, just to sum up, was Corset, Cotton, Chandelier, and then, what's this one called? Candlestick. And lastly, Confetti. So those are the 5 pans that I hit in this palette, and every other shade has been used at least 5 times. So this one is done, and we're going to finally put this one away. I really have enjoyed my time with this one. It is a palette that I really, really do like in my collection. I do love these kind of romantic tones. So it's been fun to reach for, and it was definitely an achievement to reach 5 uses on every shade in here, because it does have 20 eyeshadows. So that means like 100 uses altogether, plus whatever it took to hit pan on the rest of the shades. So this one is done. Very, very happy that I was able to show it some love again. But again, like I said, it means that we can retire this palette out of my like everyday makeup drawer. And we're going to roll in a new palette for level 1, which I'm, again, very, very excited for. It's going to be quite a breeze to work on something different, because again, this one was definitely probably my most challenging palette that I have rolled into this project. Again, because I had to hit 5 pans and use everything 5 times. Obviously, if I reached for this one on a lower level, it would have been easier, but this one is quite a big palette, especially for level 5. But I'm going to pull up my wheel for my phone from Tiny Decisions, and we're going to go ahead and roll my level 1 palette. Alright, so we have my product level up wheel right here, and the ones that are blacked out are the palettes that have been in this project earlier this year. So I'm just going to go ahead and roll. If I get something I really don't want to work on, I do have a veto, but let's see what I get. Sultry. Okay. Oh, sorry. The white palette needs to sort itself out. There we go. So the palette that I got was the Sultry palette from Anastasia. I do think I'm going to go ahead with that palette. I'm actually really excited because this is a palette that I haven't used yet this year. Maybe, no, I have reached for like one shade in like a palette bingo, but other than that, I haven't reached for this palette this year. So I'm going to go ahead and get it out, and I'm going to just kind of talk you through what my game plan is for that palette. Alright, so I was able to get my Sultry palette. This one is from Anastasia. I'm going to roll a footage of what this one looks like, just so you can see kind of where I stand with the palette. So as you can see, I already have a couple pans in here. I have 5 pans at the moment. So I do have hit 1 pan in here. And just initially, I think the shades that are up for kind of grabs is either Pearl, which would be a nice in the corner highlight, Rose Quartz, which is a nice kind of shimmer shade for the lid, or Cinder, which again is kind of like a nice shimmer shade for the lid. So I think those are the shades that I would consider to pan on. Realistically, I think Pearl might be the best option, but yeah, we'll see. It depends on what I roll into other projects, but that is kind of the palette I'm going to work on. And I do think it's going to be quite easy to reach for all of these shades once as well. Since I haven't worked on this palette this year, I'm also going to use this one in my Big Fat Eyeshadow project in the next month to kind of make 3 looks with it, which also means that I think a lot of these shades might be used anyway. So the one used in this palette is going to be really, really simple with those 3 looks, and then maybe like just a handful of shades here and there. But yeah, the pan might take a little bit longer, so we'll see which one I hone in on and try to use. But just from first instinct, I feel like it's going to be the Pearl or Rose Quartz again. Probably Pearl, but that's because it's like an easy shade, so we'll see. But that is going to be my level 1. We're going to start over and go back down to level 1. I am really, really excited to keep going with this project, and we'll see how far I get. I know in the past couple of years, I've been trying to get through this project like twice. So like I tried to get to level 5 twice. And last year I was able to do that, but this year I have had a lot of other kind of eyeshadow project going. So I've been having to kind of put my focus elsewhere, which is why some of my panning projects are a bit slower this year. But I'm fine with that. I think realistically I should be able to complete level 1 and 2 at least. Maybe even level 3. I think I should be able to roll in a level 3 palette. We'll see if I'm able to complete it or not. But yeah, I'm excited for this palette. I think it's going to be quite easy to get through. And we'll see how long it's going to be until I up this project. I am pre-filming this, by the way, but it won't go up until its normal post date, which I think is like around the 8th. And it's currently the 29th of September. So I'm pre-filming this like a week and a half in advance. And yeah, we'll see how far I get. Maybe I'll roll this one out super, super early. But if I do, I will pre-film that as well. And I will keep updating on the same date because that's just what's falls into my schedule. But that's not a problem for today. We'll see again how long it takes to actually hit pan on this one, and then we're going to reassess at that point. But that is going to be it for my product level up update number 9, I think it is. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're doing this project, let me know down below. And as always, I will always have the playlist with everyone else who's joined in this project linked down below as well if you want to binge this project. I hope you guys are having an amazing day wherever you are, and I will catch you in my next one. Bye guys.